All right, well, thank you to everyone who's watching. Good afternoon or evening or morning or wherever you're tuning in from. My name is Annie Black, and I'm the Director of Programs at the Dallas Holocaust and Human Rights Museum in Dallas, Texas, built on the lands of the Kickapoo and Wichita tribes. We're so honored today to be a part of this global 24-hour vigil. I'd like to say a quick thank you to David and the Together We Remember team, Marcus, who's running the behind the scenes for us right now, for their leadership on this program, but also to the many organizations who are participating all over the world. It's been so amazing to see the level of cooperation that it's taken across borders to pull this off, and we're proud to be a part of it. And of course, a special thank you to our fellow Texas institutions you'll hear from in just a little bit, Holocaust Memorial Museum San Antonio and Holocaust Museum Houston for helping us program this hour of the vigil. So while the Dallas Holocaust Museum has existed since 1984, when we were founded by a group of local Holocaust survivors, we opened the new Dallas Holocaust and Human Rights Museum just last September. Feels like an age ago, but with the mission to teach the history of the Holocaust and advance human rights to combat prejudice, hatred, and indifference. So today, again, we're so happy to be here to really reaffirm our commitment to remember and honor the victims of the Holocaust and other genocides, to educate future generations about the consequences of hatred, and to really be upstanders in our community and beyond. So I'd like to go ahead and get things started with some remarks from Loung, who's a Cambodian genocide survivor, author of First They Killed My Father, and one of the museum's upstander speakers in 2018.
Thank you. I am so happy to be a part of this global vigil. I came into the world when Cambodia was embroiled in the Civil War, but I didn't know much about it. But inside my home, there was laughter and love, 3 sisters, 3 brothers, and 2 loving parents. In 1970, the year I was born, Cambodia was populated by 7 million people, of which 90% or so were Buddhists and 90% or so were farmers. My Cambodia was not yet known as the killing fields. My Cambodia was beautiful and green and rich with 2,000-year-old history of a culture that was musical and vibrant and beautiful, and of a people who were artists and architects who built the largest religious complex in the world, the Angkor Wat. This Cambodia came to an end on April 17, 1975, the day the communist Khmer Rouge took the country. I was only 5 years old when this happened. For the next 3 years, 8 months, and 20 days, my life would become stranger than fiction, and I would live in fear every day, and I would have to make myself dumb, deaf, mute, blind, and invisible, just so I could have the privilege of taking that next breath. For as long as I live, I will never forget the day the soldiers came for my father. I was only 7 years old. That night, I prayed to the gods for the war to end, but for my father's death to be quick and painless. To this day, I do not know what happened to my father, but this I know. My Cambodia today is littered with over 20,000 mass graves. Over 1 million bodies have been accounted for, and those are somebody's mothers, brothers, sisters, fathers. I am so grateful my war ended when I was 9 on January 7th, 1979. In that span of 3 years, 8 months, and 20 days, 1.7 to 2 million Cambodians would die from starvation, disease, hard labor, and execution. Among the victims were both my parents, 2 sisters, and 20 other relatives. And for the rest of my life, I will remember them. I will never forget. I will never forget my family. I will never forget the millions of Cambodians who lost their lives and the millions of Cambodians who survived. I will never forget the millions of people in our world who are struggling and have fought and survived the wars in their homes, in their country, the genocide that's happening on their land. And I will remember their lives not as filled with hate and hurt and trauma, not only as stories of war, but of life lived in love, laughter, joy with family and brothers and sisters, life of culture and hope, faith in our humanity, of courageous acts, of dignity and grace. And in this remembrance, in this act, I will choose to work for peace. I will choose to honor their spirits, their lives with my work. For I know this, peace is not a wish. Peace is an action, or rather many, many actions. And when we do this work, we give hope. And we showed people like myself who had once been so hurt and had only witnessed the worst acts of man's inhumanity to man, that there is the best of man's humanity to man out there. It is in all of us, and we only have to choose it. And when we do, we can together remember, and we can together work, and we can together make this world a safer and better place for all. Thank you.
I'd like to start by introducing our wonderful junior board members. We have 3 with us today. Our junior board is made up of high school students who are committed to the mission of the museum, and we're so grateful to work with them. They've been working with David, and together we remember this year as well. So if we could go ahead and start with Susanna. And Marcus, if you could pull up the app for us, that'd be great.
Abu Mohad al-Hamawi perished in the Syrian civil war in 2015. Taeyong Kini perished in the Cambodian genocide. Kamuzinzi Frederick perished in the Rwandan genocide at the age of 40. Mukasinayobi Petrolini perished in the Rwandan genocide at the age of 43. Hagop Karasati perished in the Armenian genocide. Claudine Groska perished in the Holocaust at the age of 5. Osmanovic Saban perished in the Bosnian genocide at the age of 59. Humayag Yeretsian perished in the Armenian genocide. Pauline Sommerfeld perished in the Holocaust at the age of 67. Jan Gotjang Liak perished in the South Sudan Civil War. Tuha Mohammed Mohed perished in the Syrian Civil War in 2013. Ademovic Salih perished in the Bosnian genocide at the age of 43. Abdul Azim Ahmad al-Jahan perished in the Syrian Civil War in 2013. Yegishi Chanoyan perished in the Armenian genocide. Chaim Engel perished in the Holocaust at the age of 15. Locke perished in the Cambodian genocide. I'd now like to invite Aria Pell to read names.
Selimovic Sabria perished in the Bosnian genocide in 1995. Lev Kuperschmid perished in the Holocaust at the age of 13. Onak Niuthrath Ajang perished in the South Sudan Civil War. Hana Mohammed al-Hamed perished in the Syrian Civil War in 2013. Hamez Amati perished in the Kosovo Civil War at the age of 44. Smagil Bushati perished in the Kosovo War at the age of 62. Mukambaga Teresi perished in the Rwandan genocide in 1994. Derrick Black perished in the Bosnian genocide at the age of 64. Mukagashumba Beata perished in the Rwandan genocide at the age of 22. Nyazan Wiual Thi perished in the South Sudan Civil War. Hirvachik Nurko perished in the Bosnian genocide at the age of 52. Rafat Ahmed Hendawi perished in the Syrian Civil War in 2013. Shulam Fixler perished in the Holocaust at the age of 9. Frida Muehlbauer perished in the Holocaust at the age of 55. I'd now like to invite Olivia and Samantha Zelling to read names.
Kaulisa Protogene perished in the Rwandan genocide at the age of 21.
Ildefonse perished in the Rwandan genocide at the age of 25.
Smil Lazar perished in the Holocaust.
Now I'd like to turn it over to Wendy Warren with Holocaust Museum Houston.
Okay, thank you, Annie. I'm Wendy Warren. Holocaust Museum Houston, which sits on the lands of the Karankawa, is honored to be a part of this event because we also believe in turning remembrance into action. In 2019, Holocaust Museum Houston expanded our building and our mission to include a human rights gallery in our new bilingual museum. With me today are my colleagues, Michelle Tovar and Lori Garcia. Also joining us are students who are part of our Engines of Change Student Ambassador Program, a leadership program that helps teens become upstanders. We have Madison Petaway, Muriel Murphy, Alexa, and Serena Schwartz. They're going to help us out today. We begin today by sharing information from our Human Rights Gallery about the modern day human rights movement and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Human rights are basic rights and freedoms that all human beings possess regardless of nationality, sex, ethnicity, race, color, religion, or any other status. Human rights are inherent, universal, and indivisible, meaning every person is born with them. In the aftermath of the Holocaust and its atrocities, nations felt morally compelled to clearly define human rights. It is each country's responsibility to implement human rights. Today, these rights are part of an international legal system that aims to provide protection for persecuted people throughout the world.
Los derechos humanos son derechos y libertades básicas que poseen todos los seres humanos, independientemente de su nacionalidad, sexo, etnicidad, raza, color y indivisibles. Es decir, que cada persona nace con ellos. En el periodo posterior del Holocausto y sus atrocidades, las nacionales se sintieron con la obligación moral de definir con claridad los derechos humanos. La implementación de derechos humanos es la responsabilidad de cada país. Hoy estos derechos son parte de un sistema legal internacional que tiene como objetivo el proporcionar protección para la gente perseguida del mundo.
One of the first tasks undertaken by the United Nations was to create a universal foundation to protect human dignity, rights, and freedoms. The result was the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, or UDHR. The drafting committee, chaired by Eleanor Roosevelt, included representatives from a variety of countries. Though a product of compromise, the document was a good beginning and provided a strong foundation for all future international human rights laws.
Una de las primeras tareas llevadas a cabo por las Naciones Unidas fue el crear los cimientos para la protección de la dignidad, los derechos y las libertades humanas. El resultado fue la Declaración Universal de Derechos Humanos. El comité redactor, presidido por Eleanor Roosevelt, incluía a representantes de una variedad de países. Y aunque fue el producto de compromisos, el documento fue un buen comienzo y proporcionó una fuerte base para todas las futuras leyes internacionales de derechos humanos.
The UDHR, adopted in 1948, marked a new beginning in the human rights movement, but it was rooted in beliefs and ideas that are age-old and universal. The members of the UDHR's drafting committee represented different cultures of the world and espoused different political philosophies and religious beliefs. The group embraced the universal principle that all human beings possess inherent rights that must be respected and safeguarded.
La DUDH, adoptada en 1948, marcó un nuevo comienzo en el movimiento de los derechos humanos, pero estaba enraizada en creencias y ideas que son ancestrales y universales. Los miembros del comité redactor representaban las diferentes culturas del mundo y también abarcaron diferentes filosofías políticas y creencias religiosas. El grupo adoptó el principio universal de que todos los seres humanos poseen derechos inherentes que deben ser respetados y protegidos.
The UDHR set in motion a global movement that gradually led to international laws and mechanisms that promote and protect human rights. Since the 1970s, thousands of organizations have advocated for human rights and addressed human rights violations. Their efforts today are backed by a body of international laws, conventions, and treaties. This legal system, which countries subscribe to voluntarily, sets the following standards for the conduct of governments, protects the rights of individuals, and enables advocates to demand that countries address new human rights challenges as they arise.
La DUDH puso en marcha un movimiento global que gradualmente condujo a las leyes internacionales y mecanismos que promueven y protegen los derechos humanos. Desde los 1960, miles de organizaciones han abogado por los derechos humanos y combatido violaciones de derechos humanos. Sus esfuerzos hoy en día son respaldados por un cuerpo internacional de leyes, convenciones y tratados. Este sistema legal, a cual se suscriben los países voluntariamente, establece los siguientes estándares para la conducta de los gobiernos, protege los derechos de individuos y posibilita a los activistas a exigir a que los países aborden nuevos espacios en cuanto a derechos humanos a medida que estos surjan.
Okay, now we're going to read, Lex and Serena are going to help us read the Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
Article 1. All humans are born free with the same dignity and rights.
Todos los seres humanos hacen libres y iguales en dignidad y derechos.
Article 2. Everyone has the same rights.
Todos tienen los mismos derechos.
Article 3. You have the right to a free and safe life.
Tiene derecho a una vida libre y segura.
Article 4. Nobody has the right to make you a slave.
Artículo 4. Nadie tiene el derecho de esclavizarlo.
Article 5. Nobody has the right to torture or bully you.
Artículo 5. Nadie tiene el derecho de torturarlo o intimidarlo.
Article 6. Everyone in the world must be treated as a person before the law.
Artículo 6. Todos deben de ser tratados como personas ante la ley.
Article 7. Everyone has the right to be equal before the law.
Artículo 7. Todos tienen el derecho de ser iguales antes de la ley.
Article 8. Your rights are protected by the law.
Artículo 8. Sus derechos están protegidos por la ley.
Article 9. Nobody has the right to arrest you or put you in prison unfairly.
Artículo 9. Nadie tiene el derecho de arrestarlo o enviarlo a prisión injustamente.
Article 10. You have the right to a fair and public trial.
Artículo 10. Tiene el derecho a un juicio justo y público.
Article 11. You are innocent till proven guilty.
Artículo 11. Usted es inocente hasta que le pruebe culpable.
Article 12. You have the right to privacy.
Artículo 12. Tiene el derecho a la privacidad.
Article 13. You have the right to move freely within your country.
Tiene el derecho de moverse libremente dentro de tu país.
Article 14. If you aren't safe, you have the right to go to another country.
Artículo 14. Si no está a salvo, tiene el derecho de irse a otro país.
Article 15. You have the right to belong to a country.
Artículo 15. Tiene derecho de pertenecer a un país.
Article 16. Every adult has the right to marry and have a family.
Artículo 16. Todos adultos tienen el derecho de casarse y tener una familia.
Article 17. You have the right to own things.
Artículo 17. Tiene el derecho a tener sus propias cosas.
Article 18. You have the right to hold your own religious beliefs.
Artículo 18. Tiene el derecho de mantener sus propias creencias religiosas.
Article 19. You have the right to express your own opinions.
Artículo 19. Tiene el derecho de expresar sus opiniones.
Article 20. You have the right to meet peacefully with others.
Artículo 20. Tiene el derecho de reunirse pacíficamente con otros.
Article 21. Every country must hold free and fair elections.
Artículo 21. Cada país debe llevar a cabo elecciones libres y justas.
Article 22. You have the right to get help from your government.
Artículo 22. Tiene el derecho de recibir ayuda de su gobierno.
Article 23. All adults have the right to work and must be treated fairly.
Artículo 23. Todos los adultos tienen el derecho de trabajar y deben ser tratados justamente.
Article 24. You have the right to free time.
Artículo 24. Tiene el derecho de tener tiempo libre.
Article 25. You have the right to food, shelter, and health care.
Artículo 25. Tiene el derecho a alimentos, cobijo y salud.
Article 26. You have the right to go to school.
Artículo 26. Tiene el derecho de ir a la escuela.
Article 27. You have the right to enjoy culture, arts, and science.
Artículo 27. Tiene el derecho a disfrutar de la cultura, las artes y la ciencia.
Article 28. You have the right to live in a world where everyone's rights are respected.
Artículo 28. Tiene el derecho de vivir en un mundo donde los derechos de todos son respetados.
Article 29. You must take responsibility for protecting your own rights and the rights of others.
Artículo 29. Usted debe hacerse responsable de proteger sus propios derechos y los derechos de los demás.
Article 30. Your rights are yours and nobody can take them away.
Artículo 30. Sus derechos son suyos y nadie puede quitárselos.
The stability of human rights depends on three supportive factors, akin to a three-legged stool: legal protections, political action, and moral persuasion. In this model, international laws must be enacted, individual countries must adhere to those laws, and advocates must expose human rights violations wherever they occur. Today, thousands of advocacy groups are engaged in this work of naming and shaming human rights violators. While countries are obligated to promote human rights on the individual level, all people must respect the rights of all others.
La estabilidad de los derechos humanos depende de tres factores de apoyo, similares al banco de tres patas: protección legal, acción política y convicción moral. En este modelo se deben decretar leyes internacionales. Cada país debe adherirse a dichas leyes y las activistas deben exponer violaciones a los derechos humanos cuando éstas ocurran. Hoy en día, miles de grupos activistas están comprometidos en este trabajo de nombrar y avergonzar a violadores de derechos humanos. Mientras que los países están obligados a promover los derechos humanos a nivel individual, todas las personas deben respetar los derechos de todos los demás.
Thank you. And now I'd like to turn it over to Madison Petaway, who is going to read poetry.
In just a moment, I will read to you words from genocide survivors. And while I do that, I want you to understand the extremity of the situations they were put through and what they lost, including the human rights that were just mentioned. I also implore you, when I am done, to do research if you haven't already. The inkling of hatred that we have brushed off as being minuscule until it was too late. Lastly, I will ask you to reflect on what we now can do better. The first poem is Identity by Michaela Rugwizengoga. Distance, miles, songs of a land that is not mine, pain of exile. Let me tell you who I am. I am a child of exile. I am the child of an encounter. Ivory Coast held me in its bosom. Rwanda today lets me tread on its soil. Melting pot, meeting of cultures are mine. Me, I am diaspora. Difference and tolerance weave my life and blend in harmony. Daughter of contrast and colors, of sadness and sweetness, of odors and flavors, of here and there. Till today, I only knew the outside, other lands and other skies, other looks and other smiles. Those of my dear ones were just too far. Those of yours were not around. Today, they are no more. What a strange destiny is mine. What a strange destiny is yours. Well, not as strange as that when you reflect. There are thousands of us in this case. Africans, Asians, Jews, Europeans. Violence and hatred took us far from our land. Far from our mothers, far from our fathers, far from our sources, far from our roots. But today, strength in us and a smile on our face, we say with one voice, hope is alive. The sunset in the hollow of the hills is like a message of the elders. They tell us they are happy, that they at last rest in peace, that we made it. Over a life covered by night, over a destiny of hatred and pain. From the past to the present, from the present to the future, we project ourselves into the new, ready to work magic every day anew. We are Rwanda. The next poem comes from Usem Or. It is called Searching for Dad. When I left, Dad sat on his bed, waiting to go through his shakes in private. With no food or water, Dad lived on Buddha while his body became covered with sores. He refused to leave. He wanted to meditate. Pol Pot separated me from my teacher. When I return, I find he is gone. Dad, what miseries did you suffer? In 75, it was ashrams everywhere. Old men and women who were fed up with reincarnating into this life of pitfalls sought ways to reach nirvana. Now, in 79, I see only aquatic bushes. I break into a cold sweat. I get dizzy. No matter what the ideology du jour, there is always the lament. Oh, trees in whose roots the fish spawn. In the dry season of 75, my dad was still here. He was alive, under the sanctuary of worship. Now in what grave does his skeleton lie? He was a builder. followed the precepts, gave alms. He built temples, chateaux, palaces, stupas. Yet Pol Pot killed him, annihilated his genius without regret. O grasses, your grandson begs you. If the grandfather grasses know the whereabouts of my father's grave, I shall shave my head in thanks. O grass of thickets, grass of sticking burrs, where is the skeleton concealed? Tell, and I shall ask no more of you. The horizon is like the hem of a mosquito net. Pelican feet like duck feet. We've been living in misery because of our king. Eclipsed because ladies adore diamonds, our forests turned to deserts out of ignorance. Oh God, why Cambodia? Thank you.
Thank you, Madison. Next, we have Muriel Murphy, who is going to read poetry about the Holocaust in Spanish.
Hola, buenas tardes. Good afternoon. El primero poema se llama Prefacio. ¿Deben morir todos los testigos? Ojalá que no. Sin embargo, de los que estuvieron ahí, ya pocos quedan. Alguien debe rendir testimonio por los que perecieron y por los que sobrevivieron. Alguien debe regresar y mirar. No importa cuán doloroso. Las memorias deben mantenerse vivas. Segundo poema. Auschwitz. Los lamentos de 1000 primos y montañas de zapatos me persiguen. Sostén el aliento y escucha. Mira los rostros de 10,000 fanáticos a su regreso de la iglesia. Agáchate y observa la enorme pila de largas barbas negras, mezclando sus caras olvidadas en rizos rojos y marrones, de cabezas rapadas que marchan desesperadamente a la muerte. Vivo en el horror, no importa lo intenso de mi imagen. La realidad fue Auschwitz y yo aún vivo. Poema final. Llovió aquel día. Sí, soy yo, al que ves bebiendo de un cuenco roto en este día lluvioso. Agua del cielo estoy bebiendo. ¿Puedes discernir que soy yo al que ves? ¿Me reconoces llevando mi uniforme de piel y huesos? Aquí todos nos vemos iguales. Somos hermanos en la vergüenza. Seguimos de pie, no queriendo caer. No importa cuán grande la fuerza que nos empuja hacia abajo. Sí, la tierra marrón es cálida y suave, pero si nos cobijamos bajo ella, ¿quién quedará aquí para contarlo? Thank you. Gracias.
Thank you, Madison. Now I'll turn it over to Lori Garcia.
Yes, and now in honor of Asian and Pacific Islander American Heritage Month, we'd like to share the story of Chiune Sugihara. Chiune Sugihara was a Japanese diplomat that was sent to Lithuania during World War II. And while he was there, he saw the persecution and discrimination facing the Jewish community there, and he decided to take action to help. He couldn't stand by and allow innocent human beings to be murdered or harmed simply because of what they believed in or who they were. So while he was in Lithuania, he started to issue visas, essentially travel papers that would allow Jewish individuals to travel through to Curacao, eventually to Japan. And when they were there, they would be able to go to the United States or Canada if they had ability to get there. So because of his courageous actions, he was able to issue about 2,000 visas, saving thousands of people in the process. But while he was issuing the visas, the Japanese government discovered what he was doing and told him to stop. But again, he continued to issue visas to try to save lives. And once they discovered that he disobeyed their orders, they sent him back to Japan and he was fired from his position. But reflecting on his role during the Holocaust and the actions that he took, he decided that it was willing to risk his career and even his life to do the right thing, to stand up for human beings. So again, we just wanted to highlight the story of an upstander who, again, during a time of injustice, decided to take action and speak out for others. And now I'd like to turn it over to Michelle.
We began with an acknowledgement of Indigenous stolen land, and we want to close with acknowledging that during this time, during a pandemic, there are still children in cages. Please reach out to organizations like United We Dream for information of fighting against that atrocity. To learn more about Holocaust Museum Houston's education programs, visit us at hmh.org, and also follow us on Twitter and on Instagram at Boniac Center for more information about what we're doing and events that we have. I'd like to turn it over now to Julie Zucker from the Holocaust Memorial Museum of San Antonio.
Hello, everyone. We are so honored to join you. I'm Julie Zucker, the Education Coordinator at the Holocaust Memorial Museum of San Antonio. And we're joining you from what is believed to originally be Tonkawa native lands. The San Antonio community became home to dozens of survivors after the Holocaust, thanks to the generosity of the local community and the Jewish Federation of San Antonio. The Holocaust was the systematic state-sponsored persecution and murder of 6 million Jewish people and 5 million other victims from various groups by the Nazi regime and its collaborators. We would like to honor our living survivors and refugees first and foremost, who are an invaluable asset to our community. Eva Balcazar, Helene Banks, Micheline Mickey Cohen, George Fodor, Bertie Frank, Elsa Franco, Suzanne Jalnos, Ursula Kaplan, Vivian Kearney, Gerd Miller, Fred Nordhauser, Liana Ornstein, Tibor Ritter, Anna Rado, Micheline Rotblut, William Samuelson, Claudia Stuhl, David Trachtenbreut, Harry Weiss, Rose Williams, and Gannett Yahil. The following names are survivors and refugees who settled in San Antonio and have since passed away. The community will always treasure and miss them. Louisa Adar, Emmerich Adler, Rose Adler, David Beret, Perla Beret, Violet Braun, Milton Braun, Christine Cohen, Sam Cohen, Bynum Sukier, Esther Sukier, Zanuel Zwilich, Oscar Ehrenberg, Alice Epstein, Erna Epstein, Isaac Epstein, Walter Fine, Bella Fenstermacher, Rudy Finder, Hans Fischer, Alona Messenger Fodor, Albert Franco, Dorothy Goodfriend, Martin Goodfriend, Rudolph Harv, Eric Haas, Alona Handel, Nathan Handel, Margaret Hopkowitz, Simon Hopkowitz, Israel Holtzman, Perla Holtzman, Helene Ingram, Stephen Jalnos, Ephraim Jaffe, Lola Jaffe, Shirley Karp, Ernst Kaiser, Isaac Lador, Rivka Lador, Anna Levitt, Elias Levy, Ketty Levy, Roman Lubetsky, Lori Mayer, Max Mendelowitz, George Meyer, Dova Morgan, Lutek Morgan, Ilona Newworth, Hannah Davidson Pankowski, Renee Pomper, Ella Raboy, Victor Raboy, Felix Reif, Ruth Reif, Max Reiter, Matilda Rosenblatt, Morris Rogel, Sylvia Rogel, Sam Rosenzweig, Edward Solomons, Stephen Schanzer, David Scharf, Golda Scharf, Blanca Scharlock, Hugo Scharlock, Emily Simon, Regina Speisman, Gus Speisman, Ed Stern, Frida Stern, Heinrich Stern, Matilda Stern, Ellen Sechowalski, Herman Sechowalski, Lola Teicher, Bella Weinberg, Peter Weinberg, Elsa Weiss, Mike Weiss, Jack Wysocki, William Yahil, Bella Yedwab, Sam Zalksberg, Jack Znelick, Carol Znelick, Joseph Ziskind. The Holocaust Memorial Museum of San Antonio's mission statement is, first we're a memorial before anything, in memory of the 6 million Jews and other innocent victims of the Holocaust. The Holocaust Memorial Museum of San Antonio teaches the dangers of hatred, prejudice, and apathy, and promotes good citizenship, democratic values, and respect for human dignity. Why do we do this? In the words of our first director, Maxine Cohn, we do this to light the path to a better future where all of us see ourselves in the faces of strangers. We ask every student who visits the museum to answer a certain question. Now that you know, what will you do? I'm going to read several student responses that show the power and critical nature of education in preventing genocide. Now that I know, I will do my part by being kind and helpful to everybody everywhere. After going to the museum, I felt terrible because of the fact that people, humans, real people, would ever treat others that horribly. Now that I know, I will try to do everything I can to ensure that the Holocaust doesn't happen again. I feel aggravated that people can be so heartless to others because of their ethnicity, religion, or disability. Now that I know, I will try to do my very best to stop things like discrimination from happening. After the visit, I was left heartbroken by these stories. That discrimination that happened should never happen again, and we do need to make sure history does not repeat itself. This museum educated me to stop things like that from happening, and I will be aware. Now that I know, I will take actions to spread peace and make sure the same thing never happens again. After visiting the museum, I was sad. It was a lot to think about and very hard on me. It showed me that respecting everyone is important. Now that I know, I will step up and speak out when I see something that isn't fair or right. I won't stand by until things get worse. I will speak up when they start. Being a bystander is just as bad as being the one to commit the action, and I will not be a bystander. Now that I know, I will do my best to spread awareness about what people experienced during the Holocaust. Everyone should be aware of what people went through. Now that I know, I will appreciate what I have in this life and recognize that my situation could be much worse. I will always remember what Rose said. When you go home, tell your family how much you love them, because you never know if it will be the last time. Now that I know, I will apply this to my life in small and big situations alike. Nobody stands up for what is right, evil prospers. Now that I know, I will try to stop bullies, people bullying people for religion, color, or just how they look. I will be remembering all the people who were misjudged and no one stood up for. I will also remember the woman speaker and how times were tough for her in the Holocaust. When she spoke, it felt like the air was sucked out of the room. I was so sorry to hear all the tragic things that happened to the Jews. I know that the Holocaust survivors are doing their best to live a wonderful life and to share their stories. Now that I know, I will stand up for my rights now and in the future and never let something like the Holocaust happen again. History should not repeat itself when we already know what can happen. Now that I know, I will try to respect everybody, no matter what they are like, what their religion is. When I went to the Holocaust Museum, I could see the emotion in everybody's eyes. The thing that was most eye-opening was when she showed us the tattoo. I learned a lot when I was there, and I hope nothing close to that happens again. Now that I know, I will try to stop what the Nazis did from happening again. It was horrifying to hear all the stories, and I hope it never happens again. What the speaker said was really powerful. While the speakers were there, the room was so quiet. Everyone was listening intensely. Now that I know, I will teach the world about its mistakes, so we won't make the same mistakes and feel the pain as we did before. Now that I know, I will do my best to make a positive impact on this world. Now that I know, I will watch how people treat others and how things should be. What I will do is stand up and show others how to treat each other. Now that I know, I will spread the word about the Holocaust and just be more grateful about everything. I have everything I have and just show more love and passion with everything I do. Now that I know, I will tell an adult if I see someone being bullied. Now that I know, I will not be a bystander when it comes to any type of abuse. Now that I know, I will make sure this does not happen again. By not being a bystander and by standing up to people, I will make sure to tell my kids about this so they will do the same. Now that I know, I will stand up against hatred and when anyone thinks they're better than anyone else. Now that I know, I will strive to treat everyone equally, no matter their religion, age, gender, ideas, sexuality, or their IQ or anything else. I will try to be empathetic to anyone under the same circumstance as Holocaust survivors. And I will share the story that Rose shared with us. Now that I know, I will make a change. I will make a change against all the racist people in the world, all those who don't believe in global warming and plastic in the ocean. All it takes is one voice to unite others. Now that I know, I will be more appreciative of what I have and spend more time with my family and say I love you more often. After going to the Holocaust Museum, I felt sad for the people that had to experience that tragedy. Please consider the questions. Now that you know, what will you do? And what does never again mean to you? Before I sign off, I'd like to thank my partners, the Holocaust Museum Houston and the Dallas Holocaust and Human Rights Museum. We were honored to be here and participate.
We have just one more quick video to share with you. I'd like to introduce Derrick Black. So Derrick is one of our museum upstander speakers from 2019, and he actually grew up an heir to the white nationalist movement and the godson of David Duke, but he is now a leading advocate of equality and acceptance and is dedicated to fighting hatred. He's an incredible man. So we'll share that quick video and then we'll wrap up.
My name is Derrick Black. I grew up within the white nationalist movement in the United States, and I can say really clearly and firmly that hate and prejudice and discrimination are not something that this country or the world has moved on from. It's not a part of our history that we need to wrestle with. It's something that is in our everyday lives. It is in our own behaviors, it is in the way our institutions lead people into limited opportunities, limited paths. It is in the way that our structures guide our everyday lives. Institutions like the Holocaust Museums in Houston, San Antonio, and Dallas are providing essential education, not just about our history, but about the world that we live in today. I've worked with the Dallas Holocaust Museum, and the staff there is incredible. I've seen the students who pass through their halls, the exhibits they put on, the workshops, the classes, and that work is essential. It is important that we take times like this, not just to come together with our friends and family, but to remember the responsibility that we have for people all over the world and our fellow humans. It is not the work of one day or one person. Remembering past genocides and remembering the harm that can still come today is absolutely the important work that each of us as individuals can work on, can come together, can think about, can create institutions and organizations, can pool our resources, and it's work that we as individuals can do and must do. It's that essential effort, that individual task of speaking up and speaking out that changes everything, that changes a movement, that changes where we go. Thank you for participating today, and thank you for having me.
All right, well, thank you again, everyone, for sticking with us for this hour. Thank you to Holocaust Museum Houston, Holocaust Memorial Museum San Antonio. It's great to share the hour with you. Thank you. Together we remember, and we're looking forward to seeing everybody soon. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.